Hey guys, welcome to the second video of this string tutorials, and we will continue our conversation about how you can process a string for the NLP or text analytics related cases, and not only this, in general programming or the general machine learning task or data processing task, you will find it useful. And I would suggest that keep watching it every space because every part of this, because I will be discussing how these questions are coming into an interview and what sort of answers that you need to give. So stay tuned for that. All right, so next is finding a particular text in string. Notebook has changed. Let me overwrite. Finding a particular text in a string. So how we can do is basically two methods, as I have mentioned over here, find and index, pretty much work in the same way. So let's see how we can do that. So I will create a string, something like S1, string 1, a quick brown fox, comma, jumps over the lazy dog. So if you're coming from the traditional programming, you must be aware about this particular statement. Or if you have never seen such statement in any of your programming books, well, this is basically a statement which has every letter of the alphabets from A to Z. And that's why it has been used in many programming languages as part of the example. So I just thought of using it. So a quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Well, if I need to find something like fox, let's say if this is a regularly occurring word and you want to find it, so what you can do is press S1 dot and find, and in that what you need to write is the name of the string, which is fox, and once you press shift enter, it gives you the position of the character, which is basically this is the first occurrence. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 over here. So from the 14th position, this is, so basically it starts from 0. That's why it is coming over here. The 14th position, I started counting it from 1, which was wrong. So this is the one thing. And if I say S1 dot index, and not fox, but fix. But let's see what happens if I say fix. This is also interesting, and this is an interview question. What will be the output if you are trying to find a string and it does not have? How would you evaluate it? Well, if I press shift enter, you will get to know the answer. Well, in this case it says substring not find, right? But what happens over here? Fix. It gives you the output -1. That is what I wanted to show you. In case of index method, it returns an error, but in case of a find method, it returns -1, which is much more useful and easily processable. So for example, you can always evaluate s1.find equals to -1. So if suppose, let's say if condition, that means this particular is not present, then what is the next step that you want to process? All right, so now you even have an idea that what sort of output find method will give if it cannot find the string which you have specified. Similarly, s1.index method will return the substring not found error. All right, now apart from this, what you can do is you can even specify the something like a range in which you want to search. So for example, in many times what happens is in the last couple of characters or set of characters you want to find it, or first 15 characters you want to find it. So what you can do is first of all you can specify the string to find, and then after the comma specify the starting position. So let's say from 3, 0, 1, 2, 3 to go up till the 15th position. So because it is starting from the position over here, if I'm not wrong, the 14th position it was starting. So if I say this was the 14th position, and if I write comma 3 comma 5 15, it does not find. What you need to do is basically go up till like let's say for example 20, and then it can find it because you are searching for the entire word. Similarly, you can come over here and say 3,20, but it is fixed. Let's say it is foxed, and it will give you the output 40. So you can even specify a range if, let's say, if that is your requirement in terms of processing the index or finding it, then you can even specify the range along with the string that you need to figure it out. So that's about finding the string. And now very simple method about a length of a string. Well, the simple method is len, and you can pass on the string. So in this case s1 contains this, so which basically says 41. So another question, the interview question can be that many times the strings are variable length, right? So how you will specify the last part of the string in the find method, because right now this is dynamic, right? So what you can do is simply say len and 42. I'm sorry, s1. So what it's basically saying that whatever the string length is, or let's say if you are dynamically passing the length of the string, let's say as part of the list which we saw it earlier, for example like this, then it's always variable. So what you can do is pass on the last parameter, which is the last character length, as 42 or len s1. This way you will make your program dynamic. So this is sometimes even the interview question, that how you will identify the index part of a string, the last part which is an index part of the string. All right, let's move on. After that, trimming a string. So many times you have the issue where you have the white space or some other special characters into the string and you want to trim that. So for example, if I say s1 and or say s2, I'll just copy this entire piece and say comma, paste, and there is a space over here at the start and we want to trim it. So I will just remove this extra one. So if I press enter, this string is created. Now let's apply the method which is trim. I'm sorry, the strip method. So s2 dot strip. If I press this, simply it has removed the space which was at the start, right? So apart from this, if there is a space at the end also, so what I can do is press again simply the strip method and it will give a quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, and space is removed from the end, space is removed from the right. Apart from this, what you have is if I press s2 dot and this, just press the tab, what it has is the strip method, as you can see it over here. It also has the r strip, that means stripping it from the right. So for example, s2 dot r strip, and within that I want to remove this. So what it has done is remove the space, as you can see it from here, but from the left hand side space is still there. So if in a scenario where you need to strip the space or a special character at the end, you can use the r strip. It will be little bit more computationally effective. Reason being is it does not have to search for or on the left or on the right side, but it can quickly go on the right side at the end and look for the character. So you can think that it is more computationally effective. Let's say if there are like millions of strings values which is part of a variable, you need to do that strip. So you can think that you can really gain some good computational effort, the processing. So apart from this, let's say if you have something like, so for example, if I press this and create another one which is s3, and over here I have, sometimes we get prefix like dollar or some other character over there. So s3 is like this. So what I can do is s3 dot strip. With the strip method, I can specify that I want to remove the $sign which is coming over here. And as I do that, the $sign is removed. And that's, again, as you can understand, it's an interview question that when we are getting the data from the system has a tendency that it puts a special character and we want to remove it. So what is a way by which we can do that? And the answer for that is using the strip method. So it's a data cleanup question, which is part of your data science process. And before we move on, one last thing is, similar to R strip, you have the L strip. So s3 dot L strip, and then you can specify what you want to do it. Again, once you apply R strip or L strip, you will get the good computational efficiency when there are millions of strings which you need to process. Alright, so let's move on to the last one, which is formatting a string. So many ways in which string comes to us, and we have to format the strings to make sure that they are giving us the right output. Alright, so there is many times we have a situation where we have an apostrophe s. So for example, if I say my underscore program and say this is Abhishek's program, right? So either if you have like single quote, then it won't work because your single quote is ending over here and you don't have another starting quote. So like I did it earlier, double quotation is something what you need is basically need to have over here if you want like this, right? So with this, it will not throw any issue. My program. So this is again one of the interview question that apostrophe is coming and you want to keep it. What is a way by which you can create a string which takes the apostrophe s into the consideration, because sometimes it may refer to some important variable. Similarly, if you have like this is, for example, hello, and this is this is my program. So you need to convert into a proper string. Again, it may come as the interview question or an exercise to you. Then how would you do that is basically simply start with the single quotation, right, and end with the single quotation. So I say it as 3, just any program, so it won't throw any error, and when you print the s3 you will get the output as needed. So the idea was that if you have a double quotation, use single quotation, and if you have like apostrophe s, surrounded by the double quotation, and this way you will be able to convert a not so normal string into a normal string which Python can understand. And after this, what I have is suppose you have this is line 1, this is line 2, this is line 3. So by now you must have understood that if you have multiple lines, how you would treat it like a proper string. So if you do that, let's say for example, start this and end this, it won't give you the proper output once you have the multi-line string. So what you can do is over here, 3 single quotes at the start and 3 single quotes at the end, and we can store it multi-line underscore string 1 equals to, and we will say MULO, I added one more, multi-line underscore string 1. This is line 1 backslash n, this is line 2 backslash n, this is line 3 backslash n. So backslash n is nothing but a new line character which it has added. So this way either you can have these triple quotes or these triple double quotes as well, whatever way you like it, you can add it. And these are really useful when you will write a SQL query, a long SQL query which cannot come into a one single line, but you have to keep it or store it in a variable by which you can then process. So this way you will be, these triple quotes or these triple double quotes, opening and closing, you will apply a lot when you have a long SQL query. And this can be an interview question as well, like I said, if you have multi-line string, or what are other scenarios in which you can explain this is useful. So the other scenario is the SQL query, which is like multi-line query, but you need to consider it as one single statement. And that's where even in my programs I have used it for considering it a one single statement and then passing it for the purpose of the execution or to fetch the data. Okay, so that's quickly about all these 3 or 4 topics that we have covered and the interview questions around that. And now I will meet you in the next video.